Greetings petrolheads and welcome to romrom.net, the channel sharing the joy of sim racing. Today again with a race from Assetto Corsa friends, today on the Circuit Assen, which is a circuit on Netherlands, and as always I'm not alone, but I'm here with Cody, the man with the voice of 1,000 angels. Cody, how are you?
Hello everybody, it is great to be here. We are back yet again. I've been seeing you guys a lot lately, and I love it. We're here at Assen. Serta, how do you think this race is going to shape up?
Assen is quite a fast track, so it's gonna be, of course, completely different from Monaco. And I think Assen is not as technical as Sachsenring is. So I would say that this is gonna be a race more for the people who are able to go fast and then reduce the speed when needed and get into the couple of corners that are there, and not for the technical specialists. What do you think?
I'm mostly in agreement. Assen is a very quick circuit. They've got a lot of straights, quite a few sweeping corners, and then I think that there's some technical corners. One of the interesting things about Assen that I find is it's typically a motorcycle circuit. It's the TT Tourist Trophy, and so it's got that flow, that motorcycle circuit flow to it, and I think these Porsches are very well suited to that.
Although, remember, it was a circuit where the DTM drove last year and where they are driving this year too. So last year with the Class 1 machines and this year with the GT3 machines. So it's got that flow because it's mostly used for motorcycle, but not only. And this is the third race of the Assetto Corsa friends here. So we already, I had it somewhere. Where is it at? There. So we have already some different positions coming from the races that we've had, as I said, in Monaco and Sachsenring. And what we see is that Tönnissen is almost 20 points away from the second, who's Sattler, and Sattler is more than 20 points away from Böll, then Diakowski, Bloom, etc., etc. This is interesting. It's gonna be, as I said, the first two races were quite technical. It's gonna be interesting if these positions keep this way or if they're gonna be changing, because this is a different kind of circuit.
Diakowski last time had a much improved run than his first outing there at Sachsenring, jumping 12 points in the position count all the way up to 4th. We're still relatively early. We're approaching the middle of this season, but we're still relatively early in the season. I think there's a lot of ways that this could shape out, but I think that Tönnissen, Sattler, and Sol, though they have early leads and are pretty well set into first, second, and third, over the course of the championship, that can definitely change. Don't think that this is locked in yet. It is all still up for grabs. Diakowski, Bloom, and Sasha Girards, all in a position to strike to challenge those top 3 drivers.
Well, Sasha won't, as he is not feeling well and won't be racing today, as far as I understood. But yeah, the others absolutely. And thank you very much for following Hoss312, Magic MT, and Sim Racing Driver. We've got the right name, Sim Racing Driver, because exactly that is what we're seeing here. Just to give you, if you're new to this series, if you're watching one of these races for the first time, the cars all drive on a fixed setup. including fuel. The only thing that they are allowed to change is the pressure on the tires. Everything else is fixed, as I said, including the fuel, which has brought some pain for some of the drivers, as they were not able to finish the race with the amount of fuel that they had. These may have been fixed. Let's see how it's going to be today. Another thing, these races are always 2 races of 40 minutes, and the second race has the grid reversed for the first 10 places.
Fixed setup races are always interesting. They tend to be a bit of a mixed bag. For some drivers, they really enjoy them, and some drivers, they quite pain them, because there is a setup on those cars, and it will be to some drivers' likings, and it will be not to some drivers' likings. But at the same time, it does distill the sim racing experience down to just your skill as a driver, and are you able to manage the car? Because some people are great at setting up a car, and they might be just okay drivers. Of course, all of the drivers who have made it into this series are ACF members, and they're all excellent drivers. But among these best of the best, there are some who really benefit from being able to set up the car the way they want to, and there are some who that's kind of a hindrance, because their focus is on driving and not on setting things up. I'm that way, certainly, and I'm sure I'm not alone on this field.
So
go ahead.
I tried driving these cars the way they are set up, and I was sweating like something, because the setup that was here did not fit with my way of driving. I mean, okay, you could say, if you see me driving, that no setup is gonna make my way of driving better. Still, I tweaked the setup to see if it was possible at all, and it was much better with a different setup. But as you say, this is a series with fixed setup, and you have to live with it.
Certainly. I'm hearing from one of my assistants. Would we be able to turn the game audio down a little bit so that we could hear you just a tad better, Serta?
I just did, and let me know if it's better now. I ask the chat on Twitch, on Facebook, on YouTube. As I said, let us know if you are able to hear us better. Ooh, that was a nasty bang. Okay, now we don't hear that much of the in-game sound.
Alrighty. Audio is better. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you.
And now we have... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say about the same that you said. The qualifying has ended, and we are gonna be racing quite soon. Interestingly enough, Tennyson, who is first in the overall standings, is last in this. Was last in the qualifying.
It is a reverse grid race.
No. The second race is reverse grid.
Oh, second race. My apologies. Of the top 10, yes, indeed.
So the first race, the grid is based on the qualifying. On the second, the places 1 to 10 are based on reverse grid, and the rest on the results of the first.
As in several Porsche Carrera Cup series, these will be 2 sets of 40-minute sprint races, and they are going to be quite exciting around Assen today. Oh man!
Interestingly enough, the driver that made the pole position on qualifying is only on place 11 in the overall standings. So very interesting. Let me check a couple of other names. Alman is quite down, so it's interesting. It may very well be that these drivers that are now in the first positions on qualifying or after the qualifying, that they are not so much technical drivers but fast drivers, and Assen fits them better. We'll see on the race.
Possibly, and you know, there might be circuits that fit you better, there might be circuits that don't fit you better. The drivers who win this championship will be the drivers who are best at all of the circuits. So it'll be interesting to see how this round shapes up through the championship. At Monaco, Bevan, who is your top qualifier, didn't even show. He was not he was not a competitor in that race. So that may be why we're seeing him so far down in the ranks, but so quick on the qualifying.
What is the system doing?
Oh?
I have all the... See how low the tower is all of a sudden? Hey, I don't know. Have to check when the race begins. Yeah, so now it's going through the cars, and who will? These automatic thingies sometimes throw me out on a loop.
Well, we have a countdown timer here. It looks like there's 2 minutes and 45 seconds left to go before we begin.
Assen, by the way, has a long history. It started as street track at the beginning of the 1900s, 1925 or 26, if I remember correctly, and only became the Assen kinda that we see today in the 1950s, and has been very often used for two-wheelers, but there's also a small series that is run in Belgium, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands that drives there on 4 wheels, as well as the DTM the last 2 times that the last 2 years.
Indeed, that original circuit, 1926. So Assen is certainly a circuit with a storied history. The current racetrack that we know today was built in 1955. Minute to go. Drivers are revving.
Cody, is it your stream car that is out there still, or is it mine?
I believe it's mine, and I'm unable to send it back to the pits right now.
So you won't be able until it starts. Okay.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Just don't want you to make the same error that I did on the WEC race. Or at the end I didn't do the error because I had everything set up in theory, but By the way, if you watch closely the lines, 20 seconds to go. If you watch closely the lines, you're gonna see also the starting positions for the motorbikes. You follow the news.
The lights are counting down,
And
green
we're
flag, go,
off.
go, go.
Ooh, very bad start. Let's see how they survive the first curve. A little bit of argy-bargy, and we have the first going off, second going off. Ay, ay, ay. Thibaut and Ferry are off. Oh, bugger.
Yep. Brunger takes the lead. Aslan overtaking Malman. Malman now down to third position.
Schmidt going off. Bevan relegated to 7th position or 6th.
Big hit for Lomkin. Lomkin is hard into the wall. Now getting back going again. This is quite a quite a run for these drivers here. It's very busy first lap. Looks like we're starting to get a little bit more smoothed out, but certainly a tough race. You're going to be watching a lot of top-down cameras through a lot of this circuit, just based on how the mod is made for Assetto Corsa. There are a lot of vertical top-down camera angles, but you will see, as we're seeing now, some more regular camera angles. But I think through part one of the circuit, you are going to see a lot of top-downs. So we'll have a bunch of that eye in the sky commentary for you. Malman, after the first lap, relegated down to third. He's trying to make a move on Aslan here. Aslan saying, hey, maybe not, but looks like Malman's going to try to make it. Yep, he has that inside line on Aslan. Ooh, Aslan outbraking him into this, into the next corner.
We're seeing nice fights for position, especially in the corners. They are mostly fast corners, so here the drivers can play a little bit with the throttle, with the brakes, and see that they are outbrake each other. So
Drivers rushing around Mandevin corner onto Duikersloot. Tucked into a very tight pack here, these top three drivers of Malman, Aslan, and I believe that is Bringer out in front. None of the... Whoa! Speaking of Brunger spins it. Looks like Malman going off into the grass to avoid. Now Nitsch is backwards on the track and going down. That is a tough spot going into the final chicane before the start-finish straight. That is a tough spot to try to get going again, especially with the whole freight train of cars getting around you. But they manage. Nitsch down to 11, Bringer down to 10th. Aslan and Bevan now having a little bit more space out in front of them, but Malman takes the opportunity to stay in third and get caught up there. Looks like Bevan was the main beneficiary of that in the Brumos Porsche livery. Best livery on the track, I'm going to say that right now. Absolutely love those Brumos Porsche liveries, but a lot of driver battles here. Malman definitely challenging for second. Gramke going off at looks like that was Oh goodness, I have to know my corners. Steckenval.
Bevan, who did pole position, but then had a very bad start and went into 6th, now into 2nd, because of a lot of stuff. Also because he's been driving better than the others.
So this is a very fast track, but kind of narrow. There's a lot of opportunities to slide and make a mistake. And Porsches with that rear-mounted engine, they are very stable right up until the moment where they snap, and then they are very unstable, and it's hard to get them going again. If you've ever balled up a front part of a sock and then you toss it to your clothes hamper, you know, the balled up part goes into the front, right? The heaviest part of the object wants to lead. And so that's these cars. The heavy part is in the back and it wants to be in the front, especially when they're going around these corners. And so they're fighting that as they navigate their way through all of these corners. A lot of these drivers, Aslan, Bevan, and Malman, certainly mastering that aspect of these Porsches as they drive around. TT Circuit Assen, 35 minutes left to go in this race.
Mr. got a penalty, a 5-second penalty for cutting the track. Mr. who's on 8th position, the car number.
Sort of the app drawer is showing on Assetto Corsa on the stream.
Not anymore. Thanks for
Okay,
telling me.
No worries.
Now let's see if things are going to be settling down, although in this track maybe not. It is a fast track, and the issue is because it is a fast track, then you encounter the corner and you have to be quite careful on braking. As you said, Cody, these cars are not the most stable of the world. The Porsches, the 911 especially, are not easy to drive. And I gotta say, having driven a couple of them, not my favorite car in the world, but me. I've never driven one of these race cars. I've never driven one in real life, but I've driven the race cars in the Sims, and it's never a car that I like. Ooh, and Gramke losing the control there of the car in the corner. As I said, it's quite fast, and you get with a certain speed, and there's curve combinations here, and if you don't get the right speed for the first curve, you're gonna be on the wrong speed for the second curve, and so on and so on and so on. It's not technical, but it's still not the easiest track out there. And Brunga taking the place from Sminster on the straight.
Yep, Mitt is off, trying to regain, or trying to get back on the track. Thibodeau gets around him, but then slides off into the grass all his own. Thibodeau has had a bit of a fall from grace, having been about mid-pack before, and now towards the back after that incident. Looks like... Oh, go ahead.
I think that's what we're going to be seeing here, more than the close fights, which there may be, but more than that, it's gonna be the profiting of the errors from each other.
Let's see, yep. Looks like Bevan is looking for Aslan to make a mistake as he barrels down on him for the lead.
Yeah, but he got a track cut warning because of that.
Oh, I see.
So I'm not sure if he was trying to get an error, or if he made an error himself.
Yeah, that's the tricky thing about racing at Assen, is you know, you have to use all of the space you have, but it is really easy to accidentally use some space that you don't have. Because the track is, as quick as it is, it's a fairly narrow circuit, only about, I would say no more than 4 or 3 car lengths wide in some spots.
Ooh,
Oh,
and
Bevan
Bevan going
going way
really
wide.
out.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. As I said, I think it's gonna be more profiting from the errors of the others and trying to be.
Slingshots, Bloom slingshots ahead of Blamshane on the uh, home straight, but Blamshane has the inside line. They are right alongside each other. Blamshane might be getting it back, but Bloom tucks down on the inside as they go around Magic and also Broken. Oh my goodness, this is quite a battle shaping up for fourth, with Bloom making his move all the way back on the home straight, and then still right behind Blamesheen. Almost pulled it off, but wasn't quite able to do it. But he's still right behind, and that's given Thonison the opportunity to catch up. It's a three-way battle for fourth place here. All very, very tightly packed together here, these few drivers. "30 minutes in, we have, or I'm sorry, 10 minutes in, 30 minutes left to go."
And we can see in the fight that we're seeing right now how it goes. The one takes the smaller radius of the curve, the other the longer radius, but longer radius allows speed, blah 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 blah. It's really not an easy track. It's a fast track, but nobody said it's easy, which is typical for the 911 series of Assetto Corsa friends. The tracks until now have not been the easiest. Sachsenring is a very technical, very complex track with altitude differences. Monaco, do I need to say more? And this year, while fast, it's, as we see, one where you can do a lot of them.
Yeah, most certainly for this series, we've picked some punishing and unforgiving tracks, and don't let it being a Carrera Cup fool you. These are some tough battles. Thonison getting the jump on Bloom as Bloom makes a mistake and goes off into the grass. Now Thonison is challenging Blamesheen for fourth. But Bloom says, hey, you know, I made a little mistake. I still have the pace. I can catch you. But Thonison, the previous 2 laps, has been putting in the best laps.
And now
As we say something,
Tonnison.
making a mistake, Bloom takes it back.
You jinxed it.
Commentators curse, as they say.
By the way, Tonnison, if I see it correctly, has already 1 or 2 warnings for cutting the... Which would very well mean, if he doesn't take care, that he's gonna have to visit pits and do a wonderful drive-through.
Quite possibly. We've been looking at this battle for fourth, but the battle for the lead is starting to heat up a little bit. Bevan challenging Aslan in the number 44 car for first position. Ooh, Bevan getting very, very loose around the entrance to Mandeveen.
Oh, and Malman off, losing 3 positions.
Brenger and Thonnison taking advantage of that. And Brenger is right behind Thonnison now.
It's gonna be a race of attrition, I think. And I'm pretty sure it's not gonna be only on the first race, but also on the second. Nitsch and Schmidt fighting it off.
Brenger and Thonnison right alongside each other. Looks like Brenger might pull it off. I think, yep, Brenger stays ahead.
Meanwhile, we're seeing Bevan less than 3/10 away from Azulin. Camera cannot decide where to go because there's a lot happening here.
Absolutely. Quite a battle going on. But looks like the most interesting one seems to be between Bevan and Aslan for the lead, as Bevan keeps finding a spot to get around Aslan, and then Aslan just keeps nailing those lines as if Bevan was not behind him, and manages to stay out in front. Whoa, a big off from, it looks like, let's see, the yellow car of Blamsheen. Blamsheen, big spin. That was previously your, I believe, 4th place driver, sliding all the way down to 9th, both literally and figuratively.
Yikes.
But the yellow banana gets going again. Pretty rough ride there for Blamsheen. Or Blomsheen, I believe. But we have yet again another battle, minus Blamsheen, but Malman, Thennison, both challenging Brenger for 4th.
At the same time, we're watching Bevan being very near to Azulin. There's a lot going on here.
And running way, way wide around Ossenbroken.
Interestingly enough, there's more chances of overtaking than at Monaco. What a surprise!
Certainly. Bevan, closest he's ever been to Aslan, right on his back bumper. Looking for a way around, but Aslan is doing a very, very good job of making the round back end of the Porsche as wide as possible and preventing Bevan from passing. It is certainly not for a lack of trying, though, because Bevan is looking for every little inch of space to get around Aslan. That's a lot of pressure on your first position, Aslan, there. Any little mistake and Bevan takes the position. Any big mistake and he runs away with the position, and you'll have a hard time getting it back. He's making his move on the straight. He's on the inside line. Bevan takes the lead.
Azulin is not accepting that.
Absolutely not. Just as Bevan followed Aslan, Aslan is following Bevan.
Oh. Did Smister have a slight accident? I think he did.
Schmidt went off a moment ago, I believe. Might have gone off once again. Brenger challenging Bloom for 3rd place. Not quite gonna get it this corner, but maybe the next.
Ooh, and they go
They
off.
both go off. Wow. Malman and Thunnison both make a double pass. Bringer going around the outside of Bloom now. They are side by side now. Finally, Bringer makes it in front of Bloom. A very, very long pass through that corner.
This is so very typical. When you are fighting so strongly against the one who is in front of you, you automatically follow that one. Even if he's going off, you somehow cannot help yourself and you go off too. It's happened to me so many times. Like, you always think, well, certainly these guys know the track and they won't be doing that. Yes, you do, and still you follow the one who's in front of you for a reason.
This is a sprint race with every sign of it. Thunnison absolutely cutting the track on the final chicane there, the Geert Timmerbucht chicane. But we'll have to see if the stewards register that.
Yep, it's been registered as cutting the track.
It's been registered. Yeah, in a sprint race like this, especially with the sprint race where you can theoretically make it to the end without pitting in for tires or fuel, a drive-through penalty is kind of a death sentence for a podium.
On the other hand, if the others also get drive-through penalties...
Yes, perhaps. Aslan still behind Bevan for the lead. They've settled in a little bit, but settled in a sprint race like this, I wouldn't count on.
Hey Stereo PTR, thanks for subscribing to romrom.net, the channel sharing the joy of sim racing. Yeah, the race is settling a little bit. I mean, I say a little bit because let one of these drivers get complacent or...
Donaldson spins at the chicane. Yep, Thunnison now all the way down into 7th. They were...
And he's gonna lose the 7th position.
Yep, down into 8th now. They were challenging in that big group, challenging for 3rd, which is currently occupied by Malman. But my goodness, that's a bad place to spin.
As
it's also a common place to spin.
As I was saying, let one of these drivers not take care and he loses positions like a lot.
Most certainly.
The interesting thing is Bevan and Azalin are on their own race. They are 20 seconds away from the 3rd, who's Malman. So they would have to do a very bad race to somehow lose either 1st or 2nd position, which can happen. I mean, we've seen Tennyson right now, but they are on their own race.
They would do both. They would both do very well to race a little conservatively from where they are. They're in a good position for this race, and if they both finish 1-2, well, currently they are number 8th and number 11th in the standings respectively, and that would be a very, very big bump for them if they can make this pace last through race 2.
Okay, but if you would be 2nd, would you settle for 2nd or try to get 1st?
Well, I think that honestly, if I'm racing for the championship, I would settle for 2nd, because Aslan and Bevan have been fighting like mad to get ahead of each other and trade places, and that can be a very, very easy way to both end up off in the grass and lose any chance at a podium, or worse, crash their cars entirely and not finish the race. I think that they're both better off if they don't fight each other and work with each other to get a good position in this race and not risk it too terribly.
Oh, and Azalin has now taken the first position once again. Bevan settling. Yep, Bevan got a warning for cutting the track.
Yeah, that's another thing that can catch them both up, because if they are penalized for that, that could also cost them the podium. O'Ferry is challenging Thibodeau. Thibodeau, we saw, had a little bit of a troubled start to this race. And O'Ferry now, who we haven't talked about too very much, they are 7th in the championship, but they are inching ever closer to Thibodeau for 8th position.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of different fights going on here for every position, which is very...
Absolutely. Bloom is within striking distance of Brenger for 4th. Bevan getting even closer to Azalin, again hanging behind, not quite fighting as they were, but definitely letting him know that he's there. O'Ferry still inching closer to Thibodeau, half a second, 0.4 seconds behind. Blamshin is stopped off of the track. Not quite sure we saw what happened there exactly, but I hear revving, but no movement from the car.
Oh.
Looks like there might be an issue with that vehicle.
Yeah.
Yep.
He DNF'd.
Oh, that is unfortunate for Blamshin. Blamshin 14th in the standings. This would have been their best performance so far, but unfortunately it will be a retirement.
Interestingly enough, the first retirement in the whole race, considering that these drivers have been spinning left and right because it's not an easy track, as I said, interesting that it's the first retirement.
Yes, certainly. O'Ferry, we saw on the previous run down the start-finish straight, O'Ferry got very, very close, got alongside Thibodeau, but couldn't quite make it happen. We are now seeing Thibodeau get a little bit of a comfortable gap between O'Ferry, but with one good solid braking zone from O'Ferry, that could be cut down significantly. Your top drivers: first Azalin, second Bevan, third Malman. Malman is kind of running on his own. He's about 10 seconds ahead of 4th place Brenger, but he's definitely more comfortable in 3rd than Azalin is in 1st. There with Bevan still breathing down his neck. I think they are following my advice, though, as we enter the last 11 minutes of this race, that they're just kind of chilling and gonna share that victory of this first race.
Which is not what O'Ferry and Thibodeau are doing.
No, certainly. fighting like cats and dogs, O'Ferry and Thibodeau there. O'Ferry in a very interesting livery, kind of a chromed camo look.
We're still following the fight of O'Ferry and Thibodeau.
Yes, in our battle for, at this point, 8th position.
Oh, and Bevan getting nearer to Azalin.
Yes, a little bit. Much the same as O'Ferry getting nearer to Thibodeau. Had an excellent line out of, oh goodness, I forget the name of that corner, but as they enter Hojhaig and now Ramshok, he's getting even closer than he's ever been. Thibodeau pitting in.
And maybe serving a drive-through. I have to take a look.
Quite possibly. Yeah. Yeah, Thibodeau we had seen had cut the track quite a bit, but
yeah, I think he's serving a drive-through.
That is not how they wanted their race to end.
Oh, wow.
It's not quite over, but certainly won't be battling with O'Ferry, as we only have 9 minutes left to go. But Nietzsche right alongside O'Ferry, now making a brief, making a pass for 8th position. O'Ferry might have gotten a little comfortable without the challenge of Thibodeau, but that allowed Nietzsche to catch up and get right ahead.
The fight at front for first and second has calmed down. Bevan now 1 second away from Azalin.
Malman still hanging out in 3rd position, much more comfortable than most.
I would say he's taking it easy, which is what I would do on 3rd position. You're too far away from the front to do anything. The one behind you is also quite far away enough. So what do? You just take it easy, bring it home. 3rd place is a 3rd place. And let me check. Malman was quite low in the overall standings, 14th with 27 points. He's gonna take every point that he gets, and 3rd position is not bad at all.
Notably absent from this race is 4th in the standings, Diakowski. Not entered this race, as well as 3rd place Sol. So Aslan, Bevan, Malman, all of them, missed a race before or had, poor showings, but they are, here for this race, and they'll be moving up in the standings. Part of the trick to winning one of these league championships is just being able to show up for all of them.
Absolutely.
Which, as in real life, you've got to be on track to score points, and so these drivers who are on track now will be, I'm sure, making large leaps in the point standings. Tennyson running 7th, your current leader for the championship. They are still pretty far ahead, 110 points compared to the next driver on the grid, Bloom. Bloom running in 5th. So it looks like Bloom will probably be making their way up in the standings, but it looks like Tennyson is probably going to have the lead in the championship still, even if they can come home with the top 10 as they've got so far.
And Bevan and Azalin not taking it easy. At least Bevan is not taking it easy.
No, as we move into
quite near.
Yes, as we move into the final 6 minutes of the first race here, those two drivers are getting a little bit more heated. I think the truce of let's both ride it to a 1-2 finish is over. and they are challenging each other. It's a fast circuit, a narrow circuit, and so all of that means that passing can be difficult. Whoa, Bevan
Ooh,
going really, really loose around the final chicane into the start-finish straight, losing a lot of time, certainly from that.
that chicane is not a nice one. You come with quite some speed, and then you have to reduce speed, but enter at enough speed on the first corner and enough. But ooh, and Bevan's car again getting squirrely. He may have overheated the tires, or at least the tires are already gone or something like that.
Yep, no pit stops in these sprints. And so Bevan may have used a little bit more of his tires than Aslan has, because Aslan can slow down Bevan by making his car nice and wide, but Bevan has to push harder than Aslan does to get ahead of him. And
So
so
to
what
be
we may have seen is Bevan wearing out those tires a little bit too much, and has now made that Porsche a little tougher to drive.
if I were Bevan, I would now say, okay, I'm not able to get this car under control. I'm gonna take it easy. And I got the information from the chat that Blimeshine had a game crash. That's why he
Oh,
DNF'd.
goodness.
Eesh. Ooh, and we see Mech and Gramke going off.
Bevan coming into the pits probably to serve a drive-through penalty for cutting the track. We had seen a little bit of mischievousness happening around that final chicane quite a bit, and I think that may have caught up to Bevan.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what is happening, and that might be the opportunity for Malman to come nearer.
Possibly, Malman, before Bevan entered the pits, was 0.2 of a lap off, which these are not the longest laps in the world, but certainly not as long as, Le Mans or something. And so Malman now 6 seconds behind. That would be a lot to make up in 3 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think.
Yeah. Oferi and Nitsch are pretty close together. Oferi challenging Nitsch for 8th position. We saw Nitsch overtake Oferi after Thibodeau's incident. Thibodeau has worked his way up to be right behind Oferi. I say right behind, about 7 seconds behind, but Nitsch ahead of Oferi. Oferi spins on the exit of the start-finish straight there, Harbacht. Oh, that is not how Oferi wanted that battle to end up. Nitsch's position, Nitsch's 8th place position is solidified. And now Thibodeau even closer to Oferi as we enter the last 2 minutes of this race. Wow. Schmidt also running a drive-through penalty, it seems, alongside Mech. A lot of the cutting the track, especially of that final chicane, has caught up to several drivers. Yeah, that's not a good place to be with 1 minute and 40 seconds left to go in this race. Got to respect those track limits, most certainly. As we start to wrap up this race, it is Aslan, Bevan, and Malman in 1, 2, and 3, respectively. Brenger a close 4th, and Bloom 5th. We'll be running reverse grid for the top 10. And so if, I say a big if, knock on wood, if these continue across this next minute, you will see at this point Thibodeau starting in front, then Oferi, Nitsch, Denison, Lumpkin, Bloom, Brenger, Malman, Bevan, and Aslan in 10th. Yeah, Thibodeau challenging Oferi as they run down the front stretch yet again, getting ever closer in the braking zone. Thibodeau previously had been running some quite good lap times, and he's catching up to O'Ferry. O'Ferry ran a terrible lap the last time, as we saw the spin. Ran a 1 minute 47. Thibodeau's 1 minute 40. Looks like we're only going to be going around one more time. As Aslan crosses the line just before, Aslan, your leader, crosses the line just 15 seconds before the timer goes out. So when that timer goes out, we'll be on our last lap, so it's looking like this will be the last lap. Thibodeau running out of time to challenge O'Ferry. It is now or never. Yep, here we are, we're seeing last lap. Ever closer. Do you push? You know, do you challenge them, or do you hang behind a little bit and you know,
Truth to be
bird
told,
in the hand?
I would keep the 10th position right now, because that means you're on pole for the next race.
I think so. I think that's probably the way to go.
No need now to get the couple of points that it may be. Just keep the 10th, take it easy, get through the line on 10th position, and then you are first on the next race. And being first on the next race means it's like being first or last at Monza on the first
Thibodeau gets
corner.
past. O'Ferry locks up his brakes into Ossenbroken. Thibodeau takes 9th. The opportunity presented itself, and Aslan passes the start-finish straight to end the race. Aslan, your winner of race 1, and then Bevan now coming around the final chicane. Malman very, very closely in tow. Then Branger a little bit further back will be crossing the line. Wow, that was quite a race 1. Serta, break it down for us. How was that?
As I expected, it's a fast track with lots of opportunities to mess it up, and many of the drivers took those opportunities to mess it up. I'm laughing, but I'm also laughing at myself, because I would have messed it up much more than these drivers. Anyway, it's a fast one. We've seen a lot of fights, especially at the beginning and at the end. At the middle, they took it easy, they were far from each other, but as I said, first of all, the errors, and second, the drive-throughs got things moving around, and gonna be interesting. We have O'Ferry for the next race. O'Ferry on pole, Thibodeau, Nitsch, Pennison, Lomkin, Bloom, Bringer, Malman, Bevan, and Aslan. Those are gonna be the 1st to 10th position. Let's see if Aslan and Bevan are able to go to the front, move to the front from the 10th position.
Bit of a hit from Smithster and Nitsch as they settle down and go into the pit lane.
Well, this is not Assetto Corsa Competizione, which lowers your safety rating even if you hit somebody after the race.
Indeed.
So we'll wait a couple of minutes. The system is gonna do a reverse grid, and then we're off for the second 40 minutes of the race. If you are new to this series, this is a series racing the Porsche 911 GT3 on different tracks, on difficult tracks. Twice 40 minutes, with the second race being a reverse grid for the first 10 positions. The setups are fixed. The only thing that you, including the fuel, the only thing that you can change is the pressure of the tires. This is, by the way, the third race. We saw these drivers in some way or another driving on Sachsenring on the first race and on Monaco on the second race.
Yeah, in this race, since it is a reverse grid, it's very important to get into that top 10. You know, we've seen our drivers who've made it in, and they're going to be switched. You know, the drivers who have the pace, Aslan, Bevan, you know, they're down into 9th and 10th, but they have the pace. They're able to get their way back up. Thibodeau, O'Ferry, Nitsch, Tennyson, those drivers who are running kind of mid-pack but were able to push and crack their way into the top 10, they'll be starting on pole and up there on the first couple of rows. And that can be very, very important. There's a lot of shaking up that happens in a race, but you still have to make your way around people, and people have to make their way around you. So you have the opportunity to make yourself a lot wider whenever you are in front than to have to chase and risk being passed, and risk a pass. Pardon.
Interestingly enough, Lumpkin says that he had a puncture on the last 3 lap, on the third to last lap. Yikes!
Oh wow!
You don't want to have that at Assen.
Certainly not. Not in one of these sprint races where, as we've seen, any ride through the pit lane means that your chances at a podium is completely dashed.
Yep.
All right, we've got 2 minutes 40 seconds left to wait, and then we will go onto the grid and get started for race 2. This will be another 40-minute sprint to the finish.
All right, we are. Why is it on last lap? Be like with start of the second race. In any case, we are waiting for the race to.
I'm excited for this second race. We saw a lot of action throughout the first, a lot of shuffling around there at the beginning, some early accidents. Do you think we'll see the same here, especially with this reverse grid?
I'm pretty sure while I do believe that people can learn and do learn, I wouldn't be the least surprised that while these drivers have learned, it is a track that lends itself to drive similarly all over again. So we'll have to see.
Wait time is over. And now we have a 4-minute countdown to the race.
Yeah, the drivers commenting on the Discord chat that they almost had no tires at the end of the race, which is very much to be expected. As I've said, it's a fast track. You go with high speed through the straights, but then you have to brake, and if you don't take care of braking, you are going to have flat spot. If you do that often enough, you're going to be having a tire that is quite flat spotted. And against what some people say, on Assetto Corsa you can flat spot your tire, and you're going to have a wheel that is gonna be vibrating all over the place, and you don't want to have that when you're taking a curve.
Also makes it a lot easier to lock your tires again, because that spot, you know, that specific flat spot, if you are braking again, it's more likely to lock into that groove. Again, as the tire rotates around, if it locks up, it's gonna lock up there.
Yeah.
Seekers disconnects from the server. We'll see if he's getting back in. I know that he had run into some issues beforehand, along with Sattler, who is also on the grid, but a little bit further back behind.
And having to wait 4 minutes on the grid, just waiting and hoping that the lights go on. Although, on the other hand, I suppose what many of these drivers do is have their own race to the Louvre.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, there's a couple of drivers behind our stream cars. Hopefully that's not an issue for the start of it.
Yeah, Seegers and Sattler, both behind. They were either early retirements or couldn't quite get off the grid whenever we started race 1. There's some sort of a technical issue with those cars. We'll have to see. But certainly I'll be removing the stream car whenever we, as soon as we get going. Now at this point in 1 minute, 3 seconds to go. And yeah, hopefully. But we'll keep you guys posted on that. Looks like Seeger's now out. Sattler's still there though.
So he's between. If I can get my car ready. Oh, cannot move. So I hope they do know that our cars stay put. They're only there so that we can watch and comment the race. Sadly, Assetto Corsa does not have a spectator mode, and therefore we are as if we were driving, but we're not.
15. 10 seconds to go. The lights are in front of the drivers.
And we're off once again.
Lights are out and away we go.
Let's see how this time. Okay, it seems that Fury and Thibodeau got a good start. Ooh, and
Ferry running very wide. Thibodeau takes advantage.
Ooh, and we have one car off. Bevan is off.
Oh man, your winner, I'm sorry, your second place car for the for race 1, Bevan, having some very, very unfortunate luck, running only with Mr. behind.
And we're having another argy-bargy there.
Yep, Brenger, big off into the grass on the back straight. Goodness, but Thibodeau is your early leader. O'Ferry right behind, then Nitsch, Lumpkin, and Metch. Yep, Seegers disconnects. No surprise there. Seegers, we had Assen had some technical issues. Oh, Niche getting very close, running a very wide, and sending him behind Lumpkin and Niche as they get around. A bit of a forced error there, certainly. Thibodeau, a very strong early lead, as we saw, had since this is a reverse grid, they had qualified, and I think it was 9th or 8th, one of those two. And they are taking advantage of their clean air of starting towards the front now. Lumpkin very close to Nietzsche, challenging him. Yeah, what an unfortunate start for Bevan, but he's made his way all the way up to 9th position. That number 99 Bevan, right behind Gramke, Bloom right behind him. All of the cars filing into a single file line, snaking around TT Circuit Assen on this race 2 of the AC Friends 911 Super Cup.
Yeah, and for now the positions, second to kind of 5th, 6th are quite near to each other. Let's see what is going to be happening there.
Right behind Nish, looking for a spot, trying to go around him on the outside.
Oh.
Nish gets loose. Lumpkin going very wide to get around him, makes it, but he kind of doesn't quite outbrake the corner. And Nish is right alongside him.
And gets a cut track warning.
Only a warning though. Aslan coming up from behind, very fast, pushing ahead. Lumpkin behind, very close behind. It is such a tight battle here between these 5 drivers. Tennyson behind, O'Ferry, Lumpkin, Aslan, Niche, a little bit further ahead, but my goodness, they are all
it's like 5 wide.
Right in, yeah, they're so close to each other. It's anybody's game. O'Ferry smartly hanging behind a little bit, seeing how this is going to shape up.
Bloom going off, sadly, as does Schmidt.
Yep, Bloom and Schmidt off together. Yeah, Schmidt still sliding, a very long slide coming
Lumpkin
out.
taking the position of Tennyson. Man, there's a lot going on here.
Yes, Lumpkin and Tennyson side by side on this back stretch. Tennyson has the inside line, but a lot can happen yet still. Bevan is caught up to O'Ferry. Bevan making the move on O'Ferry, going to pass him on the inside. Makes the pass cleanly and safely. Bevan all the way up to 6th. We saw that early off from Bevan, but certainly proving, hey, the pace that I had in race 1, I still have in race 2. And look at me, I'm on fresher tires.
The thing is, a position like, I think it's Lumpkin. You are the 3rd behind 2 drivers who are fighting each other. It's incredibly difficult to find the place because every time that there's an opportunity to overtake, these guys are going to be fighting for the opportunity. So the best thing that you can do is lay back and hope that in their fight they take each other off, or at least do some big error that is going to allow you to overtake, because if not, it's very difficult to get the position.
Certainly, Lumpkin now closer to Tennyson and Nish. Bevan getting even closer, involving himself in this.
Ooh.
Whoa! A touch. Tennyson gets bumped by, I think it was Lumpkin, and then ping-pongs over into Bevan. A light touch, thankfully. They're both still okay, still all running together in this very intense pack. I think that if you're O'Ferry, you're the person hanging back. All of these guys are still very much in the fight. I think O'Ferry is the only one hanging behind.
Whoa, and Tennyson goes off.
giving it a little bit too much gas out of that corner and spinning the Porsche. That's fairly easy to do on these. I'm surprised we haven't seen it so much, but Tennyson dropping all the way down into 11th position. Well, the battle is less one person. It is now O'Ferry hanging behind, and then Lomkin challenging Nitsch, challenging Bevan.
Well,
Aslan
challenging
taking the
Bevan.
opportunity.
I think Bevan is getting here.
Fair enough. Bevan had to work his way through those drivers who were racing each other. He has done that, and now he is going to be trying to catch up to Aslan. Thibodeau, though, your number 16th driver in the championship, is running first, and a fairly confident first at the moment.
Yeah, although we've seen on this track you cannot be confident.
Well, you cannot be confident, but Thibodeau's feeling pretty good right now.
Well, I'm only confident on a straight line. The moment a corner comes, yikes.
This man has just single-handedly shut down drag racing as a sport. Lomkin right behind Nitsch. We're not quite seeing the wild intensity of 5 wide that we saw before. Now that Tennyson has gone down and things have stratified a little bit, but Lomkin is still right behind Nitsch, trying to find a way around. He looks to the outside, locks his brakes a little bit, trying to outmaneuver Nitsch. Nitsch manages to hang on to it, but Lomkin certainly has the pace to get around Nitsch, but Nitsch is certainly no bump in the road himself.
Oh, Bringer going out and hitting the rail.
Bringer,
Ouch.
Bringer, a big hit. He's got to make sure that that car lasts to the end. That was a tough hit at the, I think that's Durkersloot.
And Lomkin has passed Nitsch. And Nitsch gets the position back.
Yeah. And O'Ferry as well. They had a little bit of a hairy moment there in the chicane onto the front stretch, and Lomkin certainly lost out, losing not only to Nitsch but also O'Ferry, ever the opportunist, taking advantage of that. Killen Sattler is right behind Jay Smitchter in the battle for 9th. Both drivers I saw locking their tires a little bit. That's a tricky thing because you have to make those tires last another 30 minutes. In the driver's chat in between the two races, Marcel Bloom, I think it was, mentioned that he said his right tire was basically a square at the end. And we're seeing a lot of drivers start to lock up as they go through.
Oh, and O'Ferry goes off.
There's, yep, O'Ferry off. Wow.
Oh, bother.
Yep. A quick fall from grace there in 7th for a moment, down all the way to 11th as Tennyson, Gramke, Sattler, and I think Smister all go through to pass O'Ferry, and now Marcel Bloom, the man talking about the square tires, is right behind O'Ferry. A battle that O'Ferry did not want to be in at all, but wow, that was quite an off. Thankfully, didn't look like he slammed into anything. Lomkin spins. Lomkin spins from 5th. Loses 3 positions down into 8th, spinning there at the chicane, which seems to be taking more and more drivers as we go on.
By the way, I'm pretty sure that we are at not a too far away point in this race. Gonna be seeing a repetition of the fight that we saw in the first race between Bevan and Azalin, as Bevan is ever so slightly but continuously eating up the distance to Azalin. Gonna be interesting.
Absolutely, and Azalin is challenging Thibodeau for the lead. It looks like, yes, certainly. Yep. Aslan looking to the inside of Thibodeau, not quite going to make it on this corner. De Boult but he's going to be right behind him, right on his tail. As they go around Mandevin, Aslan has the inside. He's just got to get the power down. Thibodeau on the outside, blocking, making his Porsches very wide as
But
possible.
now he
Aslan's
went
gonna
too
make
wide.
it. Aslan makes the lead. Bevan now trying to catch up to the two. As Thibodeau and Aslan battle it out, they're going to slow each other down and give Bevan the chance to catch up as if he needed any help.
Aslan and Bevan first and second on the first race, showing that it was not a fluke.
Absolutely. Thibodeau, their best performance so far, 16th in the championship, having dropped down from where they were in the first race at Monaco. But it looks like they're still in line to make a pretty good finish if they can hang on to what they've been doing here in race 2. Lumpkin down into Lumpkin into the pits and a DNF, unfortunately.
Maybe a tire blew off once again.
Quite possibly.
Pity, because he was having a good race. All things
absolutely, yeah. All things considered. I'm curious. I'm going to ask and get back to you on any information on Lumpkin.
Did you see if something happened to Bevan? Because he's now 7 seconds away from Thibodeau.
Bevan got a little bit loose in one of the corners, but he's got to. He was only like 4 or 5 seconds. He's not lost too much time. But yeah, he's I think pushing a little too hard and might be struggling a little bit.
And Nitch went off.
Well, Nitch is back on track. Right behind Smister. And then Sattler and Blemsheen in front of him. Blemsheen hopefully can finish this race too. Thibodeau a best lap, proving that they're certainly not one to be counted out in this battle between Aslan and Bevan. You know, it's certainly. I think perhaps Bevan dropping back might not entirely be Bevan's fault, but could just be Thibodeau putting in solid lap times. This is a 1 minute 39.277. We've been seeing 1 minute 40s, 1 minute 41s. 1 minute 39 is a good bit faster than what we've been seeing. Aslan, though, pretty quick lap times as well. Certainly faster than anything Bevan's done by about 4 seconds.
So things are settling down, kinda. Most drivers have their position kinda settled. The only thing that we're seeing is Sattler have a second away from Blimes. Ooh, and now almost losing the car.
Yeah, very loose going into Duikerschlut.
Ferry was have a second away from Kamke, but now he is a second away. So it's as if it's what I've been saying all the time. It's easy to make an error, to get too fast into a corner, and therefore to lose have a second if you don't go completely out.
All these drivers very close together.
Lumpkin saying that he had a very bad flat spot and there was no way for him to continue, wheel vibrating too much, and then he got a drive through and said, okay, that makes no sense to continue the race.
Noted. Tennyson challenging Niche, O'Ferry challenging Gramke. The mid-pack battles have certainly heated up a little bit in these past couple of laps. With 24 minutes left to go in this race, we're about midway through.
Of course, the sooner I say things are settling down, things don't settle down.
You are watching O'Ferry, looks like, challenging Gramke. Right behind him, that 92 car has been quite powerful. Tennyson, though, also getting closer to Niche, looking to make a move here on the Sector 3, coming into the chicane, getting closer and closer. And then we go back to O'Ferry. We just keep switching through because there are definitely two very, very intense battles shaping up. And O'Ferry makes the pass on Gramke very cleanly, very smoothly through the chicane as Gramke locks it up a little bit and has to go through the chicane a lot slower. O'Ferry makes it through. Bloom also pretty close behind Gramke. Had an opportunity to catch up, but couldn't quite capitalize on it. Tennyson now challenging Niche very, very closer. Whoa! O'Ferry and Gramke into each other. Gramke colliding with Metch as they go. Goodness, not how Gramke wanted that to happen. O'Ferry, fortunately for O'Ferry, was facing the correct direction. Gramke ended up facing the opposite direction and lost several places. Gramke firing off the flashing lights to express a bit of frustration there. And Blamshy, Niche, and Dennison are all running very, very closely together. It looks like we have a big four-way battle, it looks like. Oh, and a car off.
Sattler.
Oh, whoa!
Oh,
Sattler, an unsafe entry, very
absolutely.
nearly slamming right into Dennison. Dennison managing to avoid Sattler, but going off into the grass as a result. That was, wow, that was definitely some very unprofessional driving from Sattler. Not our call to make on if a penalty should be assessed, but that was, if you're Dennison, you're definitely screaming at the stewards right now to look into that.
Yeah, lots of work for the bleeper guy.
Certainly.
Reminds me of Vettel in Russia, I think it was, when he got rammed by Mr. Torpedo, and you were like, "Oh, what the beep? What the beep was he doing? The beep, 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 beep." You could have kept your finger on the beeper because he was like pretty upset.
Oh, certainly. But yeah, Sattler benefiting and getting the position off of Tennyson. Yeah, certainly going to be looking to the race directors to see what happens as a result of that. Sattler getting very, very loose as I look at him.
At the front, we have Azalin, Thibodeau, and Bevan, and I think for now at least, they have settled in their positions. It's possible that they are just taking a breather as they did on the first race and waiting for the best opportunity to attack in the last minutes.
Sattler is second in the standings for the race, so if they are assessed a penalty for that conduct, for that unsafe re-entry, then that might have some implications for the championship, certainly.
I mean, if Sattler doesn't take care, he's gonna get a penalty for cutting the track. Those are automatic.
Yes, we're seeing some warnings assessed on that front as well.
Amke, I think
Niche.
it's off.
Oh, yep. Yep, Goramka, big spin. Thankfully, in a clear part of the circuit, no walls there. Schmidt makes his way to pass Gramka for 13th. And Nietzsche is right behind Blemschin. And is challenging him in the battle for 4th. Flashing his lights at Blemschin as they go around the Hoghide corner. Into Ramshock, and now the chicane. We've seen a lot of action happen here at the chicane.
You can see in the images of the stream how he's getting the car to the limit, sliding ever so slightly, but still sliding at the end of the straight, going into the corner, which shows that he's pushing the car to the limit. Of course, he wants to get the position. Amke off the track once again. But Blemschin is unimpressed and continues his race, taking it easy, driving along.
The gap between Bevan and Thibodeau has gotten a lot smaller very quickly now as Bevan finds his way around the circuit a little bit faster than Thibodeau. His last lap, 1 minute 38.650. Thibodeau's a 1 minute 44.780. And so I think Thibodeau's early speed advantage has largely worn off as we have progressed through this race. You do have to make your tires last. And we had mentioned that about Thibodeau, where they might have been pushing a little bit hard, but we'd also mentioned that about Bevan. Bevan, who came second in the previous race in that number 99 Brumos car.
Bevan going for it.
Yeah. Oh, a bit of a tap there.
Clever. Well done.
Yeah. Makes
Forcing
it, though.
an error.
Very much forcing an error, but makes it around relatively cleanly, certainly safely, and takes second position. Aslan cleanly out in front as they enter the back stretch. Aslan is exiting the back stretch. They're an entire back stretch away, and with 15 minutes left to go, can that be cut down? Certainly, but Bevan is definitely having to push through, has been weaving his way through the entire field almost from their early spin. Gremke now a retirement, unfortunately, in this second race.
Yeah, he had a disconnection on the first race too, and I fear he's had exactly the same issue of a crash now. I would be taking on to Steam and checking the files of Assetto Corsa. There's something strange there.
Indeed. But yeah, Bevan's strategy has had to be push really hard to get past all the drivers and into clean air, so you can challenge Aslan as before. With 15 minutes left to go in this race, I have to wonder if that's possible based on how Bevan has been treating the tires. Bevan has not, as we've seen from some drivers, been locking up on a lot of corners. They've been fairly consistent throughout, but they've been pushing really, really hard to try to catch up to Aslan and to make their way through all of the field, and that does wear your tires down a little bit faster. I have to wonder if Bevan's going to be able to make up the 0.1, 0.2 of a lap that they need to catch up to Aslan.
Sattler, who we see now here in the images, got a drive-through penalty. Thibodeau got a second warning for cutting the track. So it may have been an error because there is no need for Thibodeau to cut the track.
Indeed. Moving on to the battle of fourth position, Nietzsche. He was close to Blamsheen, was challenging him, made a couple of attempts, dropped back a little bit, and now he is back down to right on Blamsheen's bumper and is going for another pass attempt here. Certainly looking to throw the Porsche down the inside and catch Blamsheen that way.
And we see him trying to find a different line. Very interesting, the strategic battle that these two drivers are having.
Azelen, the driver from the Netherlands, in first position. Bevan is British, and Thibodeau is French. So all three drivers, not from Germany. In contrast, your standings currently in the championship, the top 6 drivers are all German. We're seeing a much more international challenge for the lead in this race than we've seen in the previous races.
Well, I mean, the Netherlands people have the plus that it's their track, so to speak.
Yes, home field advantage, as we call it.
Well, I mean, Ed from the Global Enduro, whose races we also comment, lives very near to Spa and spends some of his days just doing some tourist driving on Spa. So hey,
I'm so jealous.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I have? I have the Texas Motor Speedway infield circuit. That's what I have. Just don't get me wrong, it's a fun circuit, but it's not much.
Ooh, Niche blocking the... I think it was Niche blocking the brakes.
Indeed, but
Still
there's some advantage to it as he gets to the inside of Blamsheen. It's a little bit loose, a touch. Oh, Blamsheen's still maintaining around very... Niche is a lot more careful through the second half of that corner than he was in the entry.
Oh, so Azelen is not from the Netherlands, but from Luxembourg.
Ah!
Careful with that.
Those are very similar flags, aren't they?
Careful with that.
Yep. My apologies.
You know, Luxembourg is the place where you try to find it, then you ask somebody in Luxembourg, like, excuse me, where's Luxembourg? And they're gonna tell you, you have your right foot in it. Oh, sorry. I spent quite some time in Luxembourg working there, so I even know a little bit of the very curious language that they have, which is it's like French spoken, no, like German spoken with a French accent, but more complex. It's a very interesting language because you hear the influences from both German and French in there, but it's their own very special language.
I see. So for reference, I'm going off of the flags listed on the driver standings sheet from last time around, and the Netherlands flag is a red field. It's 3 bars. It is a red on it's a red on top, white in the middle, blue on the bottom. The flag of Luxembourg is 3 bars, red on top, white in the middle, blue on bottom. So I'm sure you can see my confusion.
I have to look it up. I think they are. Are they? God, no. I would have to look it up. And while we are discussing flags, Blamscheid is taking over from Nitsch the position, but Mr. has come near both, and Tennyson has come also near. So we have once again a train 8 minutes away from the and Blamscheid misbrakes thoroughly. Oof. And let's not forget, when you do such an error, you are flat spotting your tire. And flat spotting, depending on which wheel you have and how the force feedback is, but can mean that your wheel is gonna be vibrating a lot, which is not what you want.
Oh, Nitsch gets rear-ended by
Oh.
Blamscheid. real hard into the chicane, that braking zone. Wow, that was a heavy hit. Definitely some damage on both of those cars. Blamscheid trying to pass Nitsch on the outside. Looks like he's gonna make it for the moment, but Nitsch has the inside line yet still. They're running alongside each other.
They have a four-way battle for position. Yikes.
Absolutely, it's definitely heated up. Denison, Smister, all wedging themselves into this previous fight between just two drivers, and Blamscheid gives it too much gas out of the end there and spins it on the exit of Struben.
So now it's a
Denison
three-way
right beside
battle.
Smister, challenging for 5th. Oh boy,
And
Denison gets it.
Yeah, and soon enough he'll be dangerous for Nitsch.
Absolutely.
Blamscheid now 8th.
Blamscheid now kicking himself.
Yeah, do that.
It is Nitsch, Denison, Smister in 4th, 5th, and 6th. Oh. A little bit of a corner cut from Smister. I have to wonder if that's going to turn into a warning. Lots of drivers have been very liberal with the chicane there at the end. Smister locking up his tires as he goes in. It's interesting, it seems that locking up your tires into some of these corners actually does have a bit of a performance advantage, a little bit, but then that's very short term because you are quickly degrading your tires. But I've seen a lot of drivers lock up their tires and slide into a spot that locks the other driver out, and they make the pass, just as Smister just did on Denison. But that can only last so long. You keep doing that. It's 5 minutes left in this race. You keep doing that, and you're going to lose all of the grip in your tires and just end up with, well, as one driver put it, squares. Denison and Smister, quite a battle there for 5th. Smister makes it out in front. Denison still very close behind. Smister, I believe it was the driver who was slammed into by Blamscheid in that previous battle. Or was that? No, that was Smister. And so Smister's going to be running with a little bit of damage there, and that's allowed Denison to catch up. Ooh, Smister locking up those tires again. Same corner. He keeps doing that. It's only 4 minutes left to go, but oh, Niche going way wide. Speaking of locking things up, Struben sees a little bit of shaking up as Tennyson takes the opportunity to get around Smister and Niche. Tennyson now 4th position, but whoa, Niche tapping Smister a little bit, dropping back to live to fight another day. Getting a little hairy there. 4 drivers all really close to each other. My goodness.
If they continue that way, Blimeshine is gonna have the opportunity to get near them.
Mm-hmm. Niche now passing Smister around the inside of Duikersloot as they go out onto. It's not really a straight. It's curved, but you're flat out. So, Hoghide and Ramshoek, that area. Ooh, Smister getting a little loose in this battle. Stretching out a little bit. All the drivers being very liberal with the use of that final chicane. In race 1, at the very end of it, we saw some drivers get hit at the last minute with drive-through penalties for cutting the track, and we're definitely seeing some drivers pushing the limits of what's available. Smister and Niche both locking up their corners into Osnabrück, and that's been a hard one on the tires all throughout.
Mister got a 3rd warning. So we've not told you much of what is happening at the front because there's not much happening at the front. Bevan is around 9 to 10 seconds away from Azalin and Thibodeau 20 seconds away from Bevan. So I most assuredly I'm gonna jinx it now, but it looks as if 1st, 2nd and 3rd the podium are fixed. But of course now that I jinxed it, everything is gonna be fixed. So the fight 4th to 7th position is still there, only not as heated as it was before. And
Niche
Mr.
spins.
Yep.
Niche spins real hard. Not on the chicane, but on the corner right before the chicane. And Smister is the beneficiary there with a change up into 6th position.
Zadla got a drive-through for cutting the track.
Ooh, in the final minute of the race. That is going to be really tough from 5th, as looks like Aslan on the backstretch, or not the backstretch, but yeah, I think we'll do this lap and one more.
Looks very much like it, yeah.
Yeah, where Aslan is on the circuit. Bloom and Brenger are very close together in that fight for 9th. Running right alongside each other down the backstretch.
And Azalin passes as we are 11 seconds away from ending the time allotted for the race, so yep.
Final lap. Get your passes in. Last chance.
Yeah, on the first race we saw, I think it was Azalin also, passing the line 15 seconds before the end.
Indeed, so very similar occasion to what we saw then. Bloom is still right behind Brenger, trying to make his move on this final lap. Sattler goes into the pits for his drive-through penalty. Smister passes, or Smister, I think, might have already been ahead of him, but Nietzsche is going to make the pass. Yep, Nietzsche makes the pass. Blomschien makes the pass. Sattler leaves in 8th position. From 5th down to 8th. That is not what you want to be doing
No.
on the last lap of a 40-minute
I
race.
wish I could join you guys and have a
Blamshin very, very loose, moving into Struben there. Sattler right behind him, capitalizing on Blamshin's mistake.
And Azalin wins the race with enough time, and even getting second.
Indeed, close behind. Bevan Thibodeau will be passing soon. Looks pretty safely. In 3rd position. Tennyson in 4th, Mr. in 5th. Oh, we have a last-minute pass. Brenger passes Sattler for 8th. We had been watching that, and it looks to have happened. Thibodeau finishes in 3rd place. Tennyson coming around the chicane for the final time. And it looks like Tennyson will be finishing in 4th position. Smister now will round out your top 5.
Nope.
Sattler and Brenger are going to fight like cats and dogs up to the very, very end. There for 8th position, but it looks like Brenger is going to bring it home in 8th. And Sattler in 9th. And Brenger with a celebratory slamming into the wall.
Well, let's call it that.
Yep.
That was quite a race.
Wow. How much action can you pack into 40 minutes? My goodness.
Yeah. And Azalin and Bevan repeating their positions from the first race, showing very clearly that it was not a fluke, that this is their track. Very interesting. For everyone on the stream, this was the 3rd race. The 4th race is going to be on the 17th of September, next week, Friday, once again. Again, twice 40 minutes, and this time it's going to be in Big Willow. As was this race, it's going to be starting at 8 p.m. Central European Summer Time.
Indeed. I want to brag on Thibodeau a little bit. Sort of an underdog. In race 1, Thibodeau finished, right down at the bottom of the top 10. Capitalized on that reverse grid to start pretty close to pole. And then finished in 3rd place, coming home with a pretty strong podium. I believe that's the first podium for Thibodeau in this championship.
Right, good. Yeah. Very interesting race. Next week, Big Willow. Cody, we're gonna be wrapping up this broadcast. Any last words?
Oh my goodness, I think that this was one of the most exciting races that I've gotten the chance to commentate. There, both race 1 and race 2. Really, there was never a dull moment. And if you guys liked what you saw, if you guys want more of it, hit the subscribe button and come join us for the next round of this championship. It is bound to be a very, very exciting series. And we also have the AC Friends World Endurance Championship series as well, and that has been a lot of fun. So if you want to see more and you liked what you saw, then hit that subscribe button.
And until next time, safe fuel, collect pickup, and we'll see each other on the podium.